We is live?
We're live.
Oh, man, I better watch what I say. Better watch what I scratch. Be a nice little thing to see all over the internet. At my age, 71, I say I'm pushing 70, now I'm dragging it.
It's forever in the legacy.
Forever, man. Just going live stuff.
Alan Autry.
It's a gut check. What's he doing there? Where's he reaching down?
Here we go, live on radio. Everybody out there online. 3, 2, 1, and...
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Thunderous Thursday here, the old Alan Autry Show, and I'm so honored and humbled to have you tune in by whichever technology that you choose nowadays. Just thank you so much. There's so many places you can go to spend your time, and you've chosen to spend a little bit of time with me, and I will never, ever take that for granted. Thank you so much for tuning in, logging on, as I said, whatever means you have chosen. Let me explain again before we get into the show, because it's time. It's Thursday. It's debate time, and probably the most important debate since the Civil War. Dramatic, over-the-top statement. Dramatic, surely, over-the-top. Maybe not, because we're going to talk about that. I haven't seen one as important in my lifetime, and I've been around a while. But anyway, that's tonight, 6 p.m., which will be, gosh, how did they say? Is it 6 p.m. Eastern time? Is it?
It is 9 p.m. Eastern time.
9 p.m.
So it'll be
Eastern.
6 o'clock for us.
Joe Biden's got to start at 9 o'clock? Okay.
Plus 2. That's what he's doing right now. I don't know.
But it'll be 9 p.m. his time.
His time.
He's usually in bed by 4:30. Okay. And I'm not making fun. I went off the other day, Phil, on the show about making fun.
I will refrain. I'll try. So you could get on me if I go that far. But he's been practicing, and this is not a joke. I would say he's been practicing. Not kidding. 90 minutes standing. He's been practicing standing.
Well, you only have so many of those in you. He should be saving them. It's not like a normal guy. Let me tell you, it's when you get a bunch of Generation Zers running the government. Mm-hmm. Well, let's just get him up. Let's keep him standing up, build those leg muscles up. Let's do have him stand 2.5 hours.
Wow.
3 times a week before the debate. No, that doesn't work with an 81-year-old. I think that could be a factor tonight. But let me explain, folks, before we get into the hard stuff here. I've been sporadic on the show, and I don't like to be sporadic on a show. I'm one of those guys that likes to, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right, and you got to have a time that you pick, a day that you pick that people can depend on. I get that. I like that with shows I like to watch. I don't like to tune in and then not be there, or switching days on me and times. We're working that out, but the reason I've been sporadic is I've been in L.A., filming several episodes of a TV series called 911 Lone Star, the Rob Lowe series.
Yes.
And they've extended my guest stint on there for quite a while. It's going to be one show now. I think I'm up to show 5. And we'll be going down one day next week, we believe, early July. And then I will be finished with that. And it should be pretty steady, unless the phone rings and it's some other role that I may take. But I like acting. I like doing it. You don't get as many opportunities when you get old, like me. But the ones you do get and you like them, I'm probably going to take them if all the other factors line up in life. But I'm looking forward to it. I will tell you this.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I'm on screen a lot in this thing, but I don't want to spoil alert. But it's a shocking ending. My last show on there. So anyway, that's all I can say.
Aliens come and pick you up.
The NDA. No, I can't say.
Oh, I can't even.
So you're going to get me in trouble with the studio and people I'll never work for again. But anyway, that's where I've been, and but we're going to get back on the schedule. All right. Let's get ready to rumble tonight. It will be 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Finally got that math right. 6 p.m. West Coast Time. That would be how many? We're at 12 noon, high noon.
Yeah, airing at 1 o'clock here.
Oh, no, we're airing at 1 o'clock, yeah. So at 5 hours, it starts up. And the Hayes in the Barn.
Watch party?
Both the candidates.
Is that what you're doing at your house?
Yeah, I'm going to be watching on my...
Ordering pizza, laying back.
Yeah, if you call that a party, with my wife there and I doing our little analysis of each word that comes out. Because I'll get started on these debates. Somebody says something, I'm going, oh, kid, why do you say that? She goes, shh, listen to the debate. Then sure enough, 5 minutes later, someone will say something, she'll start in. Well, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. What are you saying? So hopefully we'll hear some of the debate. But I do believe...
It's like a game, yeah.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, we're like shouting at the TV. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like football.
Yeah, well, this one, should have been in Vegas. They could have built it, the Geezers at Caesars.
Man, you could have produced
Wouldn't that been great?
Yeah.
The Geezers at Caesars. We sell
I love that. Coin that phrase there.
Now, that's making fun of age in a tasteful way.
Hey.
When they start picking on anybody being old and making fun, like, little sippy jar, crap in your pants. Oh, that's the big one out there. Oh, Joe Biden drops a load in his pants. I got any talking head out there that's using that. It's been used 1,000 times. Don't think you're the original one. I'll never forget watching Robin Williams at an airport. These people coming up to him going, Nanu, because he played Mork. Right?
Yeah.
And bless his heart, Robin acted like it's the first time he heard it. Oh, that's really neat. And I'm going, oh, my God, fella, you're not being original. Everybody says that, and it's got to be a little bit annoying. But
thank you for sharing that, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just random. Every show, we usually have Free-for-All Friday, or anything's on the table. And I try to have different segments. Thunderous Thursday, Taco Tuesday, Manic Monday. We have in certain topics. I might as well throw that out the window. We're almost halfway through our second year. Or we might be through our second year. And it's every day on the show. It's pretty much Free-for-All Friday. So it's Free-for-All Thursday. But we are going to focus on this debate and the importance of it. I know I come from a movie background. I do. And I understand how Hollywood dramatizes things, blows things out of proportion to sell things. The greatest movie since Gone with the Wind, and you see the movie, and it's not even up there with Mel Brooks' Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah,
and
I like that movie.
And I know I come from a movie background as part of my history, but I don't believe I'm being overly dramatic at all when I say this debate tonight is the most important debate. I can say this with certainty, the most important debate in my lifetime. And for some reason, I got smitten by politics very early. It was when John Kennedy got assassinated. And I was in 6th grade. And from that point on, I realized, man, this politics, this being president, the differences of opinion in politics is serious stuff. Serious to the point that people try to take other people out. And they got our most beloved president of my lifetime, John Kennedy. And it just, most of folks my age, there's a little PTSD to that. That we had never experienced anything like that. But I became interested in that, and prior to that even, when we all thought nuclear war was going to break out because John Kennedy told Nikita Khrushchev, if you don't turn those boats around that are heading for Cuba with more materials to build nuclear sites, I'll never forget his response. To this day, he said in his inimitable Boston accent to Khrushchev and the nation that if he did not turn those ships around, they will face a full retaliatory response from the United States. Even at that age, so that was in 1962, I was, 9, 10? I got it. I understood what he meant. And the country immediately started this wave of building bomb shelters. In case of nuclear war, we had drills. In case of a nuclear attack, they had us get underneath our desk as if that was going to stop us from being incinerated by a nuclear bomb. But I became very interested in it and followed elections. I went on, played pro football, college football, pro football. And of course, that took a lot of my attention, but I was always had an ear to what was going on in the world and kind of following things, and especially around election time. And I cannot remember, even during Vietnam, that was very important. I lost 2 buddies over in Vietnam. And to get out of that mess was something that all of us during that time, most of us who cared about our country, was interested in. And but as far as the future of our country, and I know this phrase is used a lot nowadays, it's called existential threat, meaning something is a threat to your existence. Nuclear weapons, the misuse of them, is an existential threat that we need to keep an eye on and start working on sooner rather than later. If tomorrow never comes, if you know what I mean. You get the wrong leader and has a finger there on the bomb, boom, on the button, boom. A pandemic with a true killer virus, the one that just COVID times 100, is an existential threat. Israel, through Hamas and all of radical Islam, is an existential threat to Israel. How do we know that? Because they've come out and said it, that Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth. And not just if you're Zionist, if you're just a Jew, period. Because if you're it's a difference for a lot of people don't know the difference between Zionist and Jew and being a Jew. I didn't either for a lot of years. But Zionists believe there should be a state of Israel of its own, run by a government that is made of the Jewish faith, with that part of the governing system is their faith. But you can be a Jew and not be a Zionist. I don't understand that. But if you're a Zionist, and the Jews that say they're not a Zionist, that they believe in a 2-state solution and all that, radical Islam does not care. You don't have a place on this earth being a Jew, period. They don't split hairs whether you're a Zionist or not. They are an existential threat. And I know it sounds like a ramble. Well, what does that have to do with the debate tonight? Because I believe our country's at a point where it's going to go one way or the other. And right now, I think it's going the way that is not going to be good for our children and our grandchildren, and for a lot of folks that are still alive today, including old dudes and women like me. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, prior in my lifetime, there was never really a discussion or debate whether individual rights were a basic foundational principle of America, that everybody had a right to life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness, and that everyone is endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights given by God. Now, we didn't always live up to that with, limiting the participation in government of black people, of women, but that got corrected because you had that document that said, hey, this policy that's in place in your country goes counter to this Constitution. So it's unconstitutional to deprive women the right to vote or voting privileges to black people, surely to enslave them, anybody. As individuals, that the rights that prior to our country being created were ruled by emperors, kings, dictators. It was just other people telling other people, usually a small minority of the powerful elite, what rights they had. And this goes all the way back to biblical days and before. I mean, Solomon enslaved his own people, forced labor. Because why? Because he said so. He picked you, and you, and you were conscripted into forced labor. And you got this right, you didn't get that right, you got this right, not that right or that right. That was determined by man. But that Declaration of Independence, Constitution came along to guarantee every American the birthright to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And there were certain things that were just not debatable. There was a common thread of common truth that ran through the vast majority of Americans, whether you're Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, whatever, man, woman, it didn't matter. That has been under attack for a long time now, to where you have in place an ideology that's infiltrated our education system, our politics, our judicial system, that's very well funded and ready for the long haul battle to end this country as we know it. They don't want America to be powerful. They don't think our freedoms are good for the world. They think some country better off, like China or Russia or even in the Middle East, would be better off under their system, which most of them are tremendously oppressive over there, than the American system with all its imperfections. We've never seen something like this. We've never seen just a hatred for this country and a step-by-step methodical plan to dismantle and eventually destroy America as a major player on the world stage. And we could take 8 hours, longer than that, identifying other examples of this. But we got more show. I want to get to the debate and kind of analyze that a little bit tonight. But I thought it extremely important to put on the table what I think is extremely important in terms of the importance of this debate tonight and how it plays into the picking of our next president. But I mean, would you ever fathom? I know people my age out there, whether you're liberal, conservative, whatever your political persuasion, whether you think America is not a good country or whatever, or very critical of the country. Because I've grown up with a lot of folks. I've been critical of our country. In Vietnam, getting into a war that you just weren't going to win, and you're having your friends die. You see the history is far from being perfect. But we have never faced as I said, the folks that want to just throw out the baby with the bathwater, just destroy this country and make us, as I said, not a major player at all of influence on the world stage. Those folks were kind of outliers. They weren't anywhere near the mainstream. And when you don't want to have, when you believe that there's no, to have our border be like it is today, because if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. We're the only country in the world right now, the only country. Europe tried this no border thing, and they're paying an awful price. Now they're drawing those borders and securing those borders like starving dogs in a meat house trying to get this thing fixed. We're the only country out there that seems, with this administration, the Biden administration, continuing down that fast, accelerated road to irreparable chaos. 11 million in less than 3 years of people we don't even know coming across here. And we're paying an awful price. We're going to show some video here in a minute, and it's so sad. We've never faced that type of insanity that was in a position to implement these insane policies like no borders. And you say, well, we have a border. Mayorkas, our border's there. It's working. It's secure. Remember those days? It wasn't that long ago. Did you hear him yesterday? saying how porous the border is and all the steps that the President Biden has taken to secure the border, the lives of, does not make you have some reason for concern? Number one, for the veracity and the truthfulness of this administration. And the fact that so many people are dying every day because you can't possibly know who these people are. And we had an orderly way to get into this country before this administration took over. And I'm not just picking on Biden because I don't think Biden's running this country. It's a cabal of far, far, far left, not Democrat, the traditional Democrat, certainly not the traditional old school liberals like Bill Maher and even James Carville and you're just your normal liberal. This is just far left America hating policy people that have gotten into a place of power and are leading this country towards destruction. When you're telling people inflation's good, we can't wait to get gas to $10 a gallon. Because why? Because it's going to push people to electric cars. Well, it's also going to take most of the food off the table of poor people. Have you ever thought about the consequences of this type of thinking? There's a term in military called collateral damage. They think that the suffering is just collateral damage on the way to a very superior way of a country operating, of an ideology that's going to be like John Lennon. I've never heard a more beautiful song with such dangerous, evil words as John Lennon's Imagine. We're going to play it one of these days. What an evil, evil song. But yet, just like evil, just like the devil, he uses people to make these beautiful things that are really very, very deadly. And to say, oh, open borders, come one, come all, we're kumbaya, we're all one global community. Come here and love us, we'll feed you all, and you'll take care of us, and we'll take care of you, and this and that. But the nature of man is not to do that. That doesn't happen. Chaos ensues, and the law of the jungle follows. And the strongest rise to the top, and usually they're people with nefarious intentions that have the guns, and they're going to get power, and they're going to rule over the people, and they're going to want to eat steak while the rest of the people eat cake. That's just the nature of man. So this whole thing about getting involved in endless wars, of corruption, of no borders, of defund the police, you can go on and on and on, things that make absolutely no sense unless you want to destroy a country that's been the biggest beacon of freedom the history of the world has ever seen. For some reason, you detest that. See, I don't buy the ineptitude of the folks that are pushing Biden and his policies. I don't buy that at all. I think they know exactly what they're doing. They will use anything and do anything to weaken this country to the point where they feel it's sufficient. And where I personally feel, a lot of other people feel, all you have to do is read their ideology and watch them. And that is the equivalent of America being basically a third world country that could never rise again to be the leader of the free world. Because they think America is bad. All these freedoms are just bad for people. And most of them, I'm going to say it's going to get me in trouble, most of them don't believe in God. They believe you can make a heaven on earth. You just get the right institutions with the right people in there, and you will have Camelot. You'll have heaven on earth because you believe that man, human beings, are good by nature. It's just the environment. If you change the environment, you find the right people, they would never become intoxicated with power. You heard of that thing, absolute power corrupts absolutely? Well, they don't believe that. They believe out there that if you just get people with their ideology in those positions of power in politics, in the judiciary, in the legal system, and certainly in the education, educate the kids, you have the right institutions with the right people, every problem on earth would be solved. And you say, well, that's a very naive Well, I think it's naive, and I think it's extremely dangerous if you actually believe that can happen. I know it's tough to say that, hey, the nature of man is to be tempted and to fall to that temptation. How many people seeing how he was great till he got that job and it went to his head? Oh, he was a great athlete, and in high school, very humble, then it went to his head. Oh, man, when he was struggling out or she was struggling, but then he got all that money and it went to their head. Well, you never expected that. Well, that pastor did that. That so-and-so did that. Oh, they'd never fall victim to that. They would never give in to that temptation. We know better. And what we're fighting now is on this debate, coming all the way around back to why this debate is so important, you're going to see a clash of visions for this country to keep going the direction we're going. No borders, soft on crime, hard on those that follow the law, going and bringing charges, taking misdemeanors, turning them into felonies, just weaponizing the government, the judicial system, the legal system, the education system. Are we going to keep going forward in endless wars with no definition of what victory looks like, just keep pumping money as our dollar becomes less and less and less and buys less and less and less to the point where you can't put food on the table or gas in your gas tank? And you can go on and on to where the streets become, so dangerous because you have DAs bought off, said, let the bad guys go and prosecute the good guys. Oh, that doesn't happen. We'll tell that to the bodega owner in New York when Alvin Bragg tried to convict him. Well, he defended himself against this crazy madman who jumped across his counter with a knife trying to kill him. They didn't arrest him. They arrested the bodega owner. If he didn't have that video, he'd probably be in prison right now. It's out there happening every single day in pretty much every big city around the country. So that's why this is so important. We get back to a strong America. What is wrong with saying America's first? You don't think people are saying put China first? You don't think Russia's saying putting Russia first? You don't think Trudeau's not saying put Canada first? You don't think over there in didn't this Rishi Sunak over there, the Prime Minister, put England first? You think Giorgia Meloni, Italy's not saying put Italy first? All the countries over in Africa, you don't think they're saying put Kenya first? Who in the heck is leading the country right now in this world saying put our country second or third or 10th? Can we please get real? You have demonized the phrase, put America first, and a red hat that says make America great again. You've demonized that, or tried to, and been pretty successful. Yet you demonize the red hat with make America great again, but you'll fight and call a person anti-Islamic and anti-Muslim if you say the phrase from the river to the sea means to get rid of Jews. You'll go ape doo-doo over that. You use somebody with a red hat, calls themselves MAGA. I got news for you. People that believe in smaller government, individual liberties, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everyone, non-burdensome taxation for individuals, families, and country, and businesses, and believe not getting involved in fruitless, dangerous foreign wars with no end in sight, that believe that low inflation is good for people when you can go to the store and not have it break you. Those ideals were around long before Donald Trump. Whatever you want to call them, they were here. He didn't come up with that. He didn't come up with freedoms, individual liberties. What have you been smoking? Yeah, you want to you have our president knowing if you just got rid of Donald Trump, you would change these MAGA people, this 81 million people that have been brainwashed will suddenly start being pro-choice, abortion at 9 months, They'll suddenly be for defunding the police and be for dangerous streets. They would suddenly be for letting 11 million strangers come across the border. They would suddenly be wanting to spend more government money so they can pay more at the grocery store and pay more to put gas in their tank. If you just got rid of Trump, they would come on board with our ideology of destroy America first. Because that's what they're doing. Make America first is what's going to be on that debate stage tonight against destroy America first. I hate to say it, man. People, and I'm going to get lumped in by people in Hollywood. I mean, I'm so fortunate I even worked on this last show that I got hired again. I'm saying the ideology. I'm not just picking on Joe Biden. It's going much deeper than Joe. And I was one on the show the other day saying, look, and please listen, folks, on the right, anybody that's listening to our little show that happens to be on the right, that thinks that making the Joe Biden crap in his pants jokes and just picking that out, that age thing that's just all over conservative radio, please stop it. Don't just pick on to say that his vitality at 81 is not enough to lead a country. I will go along with you on that. But it's gone over to just, it's his age, and you've got a voting bloc out there that are way past 80 that are sharp as a tack, but maybe facing some of the same challenges that Joe is. Not in the truth or integrity and that aspect of his life, but just physical things. They fall down. You don't need to show him falling down, going up 9 million times and make a reel of that. Yet there's people listening out there. If I don't laugh at that, look at Joe falling off his bike. Oh, look at Joe falling up Air Force One. Oh, look at Joe shaking hands with the air. Oh, look at Joe. Then I'm a Biden supporter. I'm gonna quote Mama. Grow up. Grow up. You're acting like a bunch of little kindergartners. My conservative brethren, get on the policies that matter. You can't keep giving Ukraine a blank check. It's just going to be more dead bodies shipped back to Kiev. You got to secure the border. Or do you want more of this? How much time? We got 13 minutes. Oh, gosh, I've been going on a while. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. I'm going to show you what we should be focusing on. We mean if you love America. It doesn't mean we're perfect. I mean, do you know anybody that you love in life that's perfect? Outside of your Lord Jesus Christ that you may worship? No. But we'll come right back, and I'm going to show you some pictures I feel we have to look at, as difficult as it is. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
You ready? Come back? All right.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome back to Alan Autry, No Retreat. Thunderous Thursday here. Let's show the pictures of the young ladies that have been, Philip, if you've got it there, that's been tragically killed by people that should not even be here. We got that going. Here's the thing that befuddles me. There they are, and you have Rachel Marin on the. No, that's Jocelyn Nungary on the left, isn't it? And then you have Rachel Marin in the middle and Laken Riley on the far right. These are three young ladies, innocent people that are no longer with us, killed by people who should never have been here to begin with. And I'm showing this because that airtime that you're spending showing Joe Biden falling down, that litany, that little video edit of all of his age-related screw-ups, okay, the America gets it. But you need to see these pictures of these three young ladies. Put that up over and over and over and over again. We can't see that too much, as hard as it is to look at and know what has happened to them and how we grieve for their families. We have to face it. We can't just discard it. That's what this crazy woke left wants you to do. They call it just collateral damage. They said, well, that's just a few. That means you want to punish all the immigrants? First of all, no, they were 11 million that are here illegally. So you're trying to lump in that you're anti-immigrant. And there is something especially egregious. Every loss of life, every murder is horrific. But there's something especially egregious when it's committed by someone who should not be here, that are here illegally. Why? Because it could have been prevented. That's why. The little girl on the left, Jocelyn Nungary, 12 years old. One of the assailants, alleged killers, we always have to say alleged, proven guilty, but the evidence seems overwhelming, had a freaking leg monitor on. He had an ice ankle monitor on. Do you think this is the first murder that this man has done?
This should be a bipartisan
gosh.
issue right here.
Okay, Phil, I'm glad you come in because it brings me to my point. They just came out with the latest polls, or surveys rather, so I guess they're both the same, and the outlets, the conservative outlets, are just with joy going 62% of Americans of all political persuasion thinks all these the illegal immigrants should be deported, which is a kind of a new phenomenon. 62%. But you know where my mind goes? 38%.
Yes.
Now, damn, Phil, 38%, Phil, think this is acceptable. These three girls, and this is not the only three. We don't know all the other unsolved crimes. I mean, I think back 38%. Do you have, to me, you don't struggle. Now, I'm speaking to that 38%. You think the border's just fine. That was the question. Nothing needs to be done differently. They're just working just fine. To me, that's not a disagreement politically. You don't have a political problem. It's not even a mental health problem. You got something inside your soul that's damaged. What's your thought, Phil? Am I over the top on this?
It is, again, a bipartisan issue. I think it becomes political because everyone wants to spike the football on the left and the right. But if you saw that the MSNBC that show, somebody was talking about this very thing you just mentioned, and they said illegal aliens, that they were killed by illegal aliens, and they stopped the whole interview because we don't say illegal aliens. They're talking about the rape. They're talking about that. They're making issues the wrong issues. So I think both sides are trying to use it, but one is just we're trying to advance a cause of keeping our kids safe. It should be everybody.
But you have, sadly, evidence that murders are committed. When Trump said they're not sending us our best, they're sending people out of prison over here. Obviously, most people said not all of them are that way. But one is too many when you have a system that can vet every single one of them. You can vet every single one of them. And if you do the proper, implement the proper policies at the border, you can absolutely stop illegal immigration, where you have a thorough, complete, and accurate vetting. If you would have vetted this guy who killed this little girl, you would have found out that he had criminal record, been in prison in Venezuela. Yeah. You would have found it. What do you mean they vet him? You ask them, hey, have you ever been in trouble? They say no. Okay, go on in. What is your vet? Why won't they allow cameras in there to go through the vetting process to show the American people how they are, quote, vetted? Because there is no true vetting going on. They're just letting them in because they see future voters. I don't know what else. And that 38%, when you get verifiable bodies, gosh, what's it going to take? Are you so steeped in political ideology that you not only put your ideology over the health of the country, you put it over the lives of these young girls and anybody else that's been killed by an illegal immigrant? Because, and again, it's more nefarious because that's the type of murder that could be prevented.
Yeah, when did you say that this is a real woman's issue right here? Because the women are being trafficked. Little girls are being raped. This is a real woman. Where's the
National Organization for Women right now? I mean, that's a legitimate question. Nobody's going to question your liberal credentials if you come on board. Is it something that I'm not going to say this is unacceptable and we got to stop this illegal immigration because you're going to get like MAGA cooties on you and you're not going to get invited to your neighborhood party full of, or Michael Moore's going to cross you off this Christmas list? Why in the hell? What are you? Nobody's going to look at you that way. They're going to say, welcome. We may disagree on abortion. We may disagree on financial issues, on the economy, the war over in Ukraine, even the war in the Middle East. But we agree on this. Let's go work together to end it.
That's why you're getting Bill Maher, Elon Musk, all these others, Russell Brand, that they've been advocates for the left for so long, but the common sense.
Yeah, 38%. To me, that's too much.
Yeah.
There's always the outlier. That's a pretty big percentage. Okay, we only have a few minutes. How do I think it's going to go tonight? I think if Biden has his best night, Trump has his best night, Trump wins, but they're both going to claim victory. Is there going to be a moment where they'll be talking about it the next day that could make people re-examine where they're leaning right now? That could happen. But here's what I think is definitely going to structurally. It's a big problem for Trump because when you can mute the mic and you have Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, both of them hate Trump, being able to control Trump, what he says and doesn't say, be able to cut him off whenever you want to. And these are both avowed people that hate Trump. I mean, that can be proven. But I want to play the clip with Byron Donalds. And I think he's absolutely correct, but I'm going to point out a flaw in his thinking. By the way, I think this Byron Donalds is a growing star on the national scene. This young man has presidential a way about him, panache. He's very articulate. He's strong. He comes across well. And I really like this man and his future. I hope he's really being looked at as vice president for President Trump. But do we have that, Byron Donalds? Let's play that real quick. This is on the Laura Coates Show, CNN. I don't hear anything. I still don't hear anything. Is the listeners hearing anything?
I'm not sure. No.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure what happened here.
Okay. Well, we'll try to get, it may mean something tomorrow. But Byron Donalds was asked what Trump has to do, and he went to explain it very, very well, how he has to talk about the economy, how things were better under the Trump administration, why the border needs to be secure and how it was when he was in office as opposed to what it is now. He just describes a litany of points that President Trump needs to focus on in his demeanor, but mostly policy stuff. And it was accurate. The problem is the way it's structured, I don't believe they're going to give Trump the time to do that. They're going to be talking about January 6th and being a convicted felon and some other things, his attack on democracy. That's going to be where they're wanting to focus. Will he get questions about comparing, his administration with Biden's administration? I don't think that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are going to do that. I do think that they're coming into this as moderators going, how do we be pro-Biden but not come across as pro-Biden? So I think they're going to throw in some questions or points that they hope the people that are really following are as dumb as they think they are, and will take the bait and say, oh, they asked the tough questions. But on further inquiry, and you look at it, did they give the former president, enough time to answer the full 2 minutes? I think they absolutely have given, this is just my own opinion, the questions to the Biden team ahead of time. They have a history of doing that. CNN does, certainly MSNBC, but CNN has a history of giving the person they want to win something, in particular a debate, they give them the information that they have. So this whole thing about nobody's going to know what the questions are. It's just bogus. That's definitely going to happen. So you have Biden having the questions, Trump not having them. But I think Trump, if he plays his cards right, he doesn't take the bait. He doesn't, come in there like a wild, UFC guy. Just keep his cool, focusing it back on the record, his record, as opposed to Biden's. I think he's going to come out fine. But we'll see. It is the most important debate in recent modern history. So I urge you to watch it. Watch it, folks. Appreciate you so much for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. Just do your best and let God do the rest. And I promise you it's going to turn out the way it's supposed to. Love y'all. Bye-bye now.
We're together. Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trail.